A strong hold over current affairs is your way to succeed in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Brace yourself and get detailed coverage of relevant news both nationally and internationally. With the monthly current affairs revision program starting from 26th October at 5 p.m. Enroll today and elevate your current affairs knowledge with comprehensive coverage of current affairs compiled through relevant sources such as the Hindu, Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB Yojana, and others. Expert support and personalized mentoring. Comprehensive assessment through MCQs and mains-oriented questions.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Study reveals 77% children in India aged 6 to 23 months lacking minimum dietary diversity. Urbanization and industries draining groundwater reserves in 5 Indian hotspots, says study. Union Cabinet approves establishment of 1,000 crore rupees venture capital fund for space sector under InSpace. Panchayat-Level weather forecasting initiative launched to make village climate resilient. UN Environment Programme releases Emission Gap Report 2024. UN COP16 Nature Summit to debate rules regarding digital sequence information DSI. According to a recent study, around 77% of children in India aged 6 to 23 months lack the minimum dietary diversity required for healthy growth. Now, to understand what constitutes minimum dietary diversity, the World Health Organization defines it as a diet covering at least 5 of the 8 essential food groups, such as breast milk, grains, legumes, dairy, flesh foods, eggs, and fruits and vegetables. Falling short of 5 food groups is termed as minimum dietary diversity failures or MDDF. The study for the period of 2019 to 21 highlights significant regional disparities, with the central region of India such as Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh showing over 80% of children with MDDF. Age also plays a role. Children aged 6 to 11 months have the highest prevalence at 87% MDDF. Vulnerable sections, including other backward classes with 79%, scheduled castes at 77% and scheduled tribes with 76% are also heavily impacted. Additionally, children of illiterate, young and rural residing mothers, especially those with no exposure to mass media, are more likely to be diet deficient. Now, let's look at some critical issues in ensuring dietary diversity. One major concern is nutritional composition. Fruits, vegetables, and animal products are consumed minimally, leaving diets imbalanced. Adding to this is education levels, where we see a stark contrast among illiterate mothers. A staggering 81% of children facing minimum dietary diversity failure, compared to 75% for educated mothers. Well, to address these concerns, recommendations include prioritizing targeted outreach for pregnant women, especially those with high-risk pregnancies, and engaging communities through local governance to support nutrition activities. India is actively working to combat malnutrition through several initiatives. The Poshan Abhiyan aims to promote nutrition awareness targeting pregnant women, lactating mothers and young children, while Rashtriya Poshan Maha encourages collaboration across ministries to engage communities. Additionally, the Integrated Child Development Services or ICDS scheme provides benefits to children aged 0 to 6, pregnant women, and lactating mothers across the country. These findings underscore the need for a coordinated approach to enhance dietary diversity and support children's health and development across India.
A recent study has raised alarm bells over urbanization and industrial activities draining groundwater reserves in 5 hotspots in India. These include Punjab and Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh and Kerala, highlighting serious concerns for these groundwater hotspots. Here, it is important to note that India is the largest groundwater user in the world, accounting for more than 25% of the global total. To begin with, focusing on the northern and northwestern hotspots, Punjab and Haryana have faced a staggering loss of approximately 64.6 billion cubic meters of water over the past 2 decades, making them the most affected areas in India. In Uttar Pradesh, the situation is changing as urban expansion shifts water usage from agriculture to domestic needs. Meanwhile, Chhattisgarh is witnessing reduced groundwater availability due to increased irrigation, domestic and industrial usage. Additionally, both West Bengal and Kerala have seen a surge in domestic and industrial water use, with increases of 24% and 34% respectively. Now, let's discuss some potential solutions to address these depleting groundwater resources. One proposed solution is the establishment of user rights that detach groundwater rights from land ownership. This could be complemented by granting community rights, which would foster collective responsibility and equal access, mitigating the exploitative tendencies often seen under private ownership. Furthermore, artificial groundwater recharge methods are being considered. Direct surface techniques include flooding, basins, and steam augmentation, while direct subsurface techniques involve injection wells and recharge pits. In addition to these solutions, the government has initiated several programs aimed at improving groundwater management. One such initiative is the Atal Bhujal Yojana or Atal Jal, which focuses on better management of groundwater resources across 7 states: Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. Another important program is the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, known as Catch the Rain, which promotes rainwater harvesting and water conservation. Additionally, the Master Plan for Artificial Recharge 2020 aims to create 1.42 crore rainwater harvesting structures across the country. Lastly, financial assistance from the 15th Finance Commission tied grants is available to states, which can be utilized for rainwater harvesting initiatives. In summary, the depletion of groundwater reserves due to urbanization and industrialization poses a significant challenge in several states. However, with the right solutions and government initiatives, there is hope for a more sustainable future.
Let's move on to the exciting news from the Union Cabinet regarding the establishment of 1,000 crore rupees venture capital fund for the space sector under Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, or INSPACE. A venture capital fund, VC fund, is a specialized form of private equity financing that invests in early-stage startups with high growth potential. Now, let's dive into what this means. The proposed fund will support startups across the entire space supply chain, upstream, midstream, and downstream. It will operate over 5 years, deploying 150 to 250 crore rupees annually with investments ranging from 10 to 60 crore rupees per startup. The goal is to support approximately 40 startups. Now you might wonder how this fund positions India on the global stage. Well, its primary aim is to strategically enhance India's standing as a leading space economy. By infusing capital, it seeks to create a multiplier effect, attracting additional funding for later stage development of startups. Moreover, it will accelerate the growth of the private space industry, targeting a 5-fold expansion of the Indian space economy in the next decade. Transitioning to the broader implications, this fund will drive advancements in space technology while strengthening India's leadership through increased private sector participation. But what are the tangible benefits? First, it will help retain space companies within India. Additionally, it is expected to generate jobs in engineering, software development, data analysis, and manufacturing, fostering a vibrant innovation ecosystem and boosting global competitiveness. Now, let's put this in context. Currently, India ranks 5th globally, constituting 2 to 3% of global space economy. Valued at $8.4 billion with ambitious targets, the aim is to reach $44 billion by 2033. Finally, let's talk about the role of Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, or INSPACE. Established in 2020, it serves as an independent nodal agency within the Department of Space, acting as a crucial interface between ISRO and non-governmental entities. Its responsibilities include authorizing and supervising various space activities, such as building launch vehicles and satellites and sharing space infrastructure. In closing, this initiative marks a significant step forward for India's private space sector, evidenced by recent developments like India's first private launch vehicle, Vikram 1, developed by Skyroot Aerospace.
In a groundbreaking move to enhance climate resilience in rural India, a new Gram Panchayat-level weather forecasting initiative has been launched. This initiative, for the first time, will provide localized weather forecast directly at the Gram Panchayat level, thanks to expanded sensor coverage by the India Meteorological Department, or IMD. So what exactly does this initiative entail? It's a collaborative effort involving the Panchayati-Raj Ministry, the IMD, and the Ministry of Earth Sciences. With this initiative, approximately 2.5 lakh Gram Panchayats will have access to critical data, including current temperature, wind speed, cloud cover, rainfall, and relative humidity. Moreover, digital platforms like e-Gram Swaraj, Gram Manchitra, and Meri Panchayat will deliver detailed 5-day and hourly weather forecasts. To keep Panchayat representatives informed, SMS alerts will also be sent regarding extreme weather events such as cyclones and heavy rainfall. Now let's talk about the significance of these localized weather forecasts. This initiative aims to safeguard agricultural livelihoods by empowering farmers to optimize their activities, such as sowing, irrigation, and harvesting based on precise weather data. Furthermore, it strengthens grassroots governance by enhancing the climate resilience of rural populations, preparing them to tackle environmental challenges. Additionally, this effort will improve rural disaster preparedness against extreme weather events, significantly reducing disaster-related mortality. It also highlights India's pivotal role in global climate resilience, as the IMD serves as an advisor to 5 developing nations under the UN Early Warning for All initiative. But that's not all. Let's take a closer look at India's localized weather forecasting capabilities. The IMD can currently forecast weather events over a 12 by 12 kilometer area, which represents a 40% improvement in forecast accuracy over the past decade. The department is even experimenting with forecasts for 3 by 3 kilometer grids, with a long-term goal of achieving hyper-local forecasts at 1 by 1 kilometer level. To support this, a weather information network and data system, or WINS, has been launched to generate long-term hyperlocal weather data. Additionally, the IMD has introduced initiatives like Agro Advisory Services and Gramin Krishi Mausam Seva. In summary, this innovative weather forecasting initiative not only aims to support farmers, but also strengthens the fabric of rural governance and disaster preparedness in India.
In our next news, we will be discussing the UN Environment Programme's Emission Gap Report 2024 that focuses on global emission trends, future projections, and the necessary steps for the upcoming Nationally Determined Contributions, or NDCs, to meet the long-term temperature goals set by the Paris Agreement. Starting with some key observations, we see that greenhouse gas emissions have reached a staggering new high of 57 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent in 2023, reflecting a 1.3% increase from 2022. Among the contributing countries, India ranks third in total GHG emissions, contributing 4,140 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, following China in first place and the United States in second. Now, let's delve deeper into the disparities in historic GHG emissions. The 6 largest GHG emitters account for a whopping 63% of global emissions, while the least developed countries contribute a mere 3% in historic GHG emissions. When we look at historical emissions, India's total carbon dioxide emissions from 1850 to 2022 stand at 83 gigatons, significantly lower than China's 300 gigatons and the US with 527 gigatons. Shifting our focus to the future, the report highlights a crucial point regarding the missing NDC targets. It emphasizes that adopting more stringent policies across countries is essential to achieve the NDC targets for 2030. So what are the recommendations for limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius? The report suggests that nations must collectively commit to reducing annual greenhouse gas emissions by 42% by 2030 and 57% by 2035 in their next NDCs. Importantly, these NDCs should encompass all gases listed in the Kyoto Protocol, cover all sectors and set specific targets. Additionally, an increased deployment of solar, photovoltaic technologies and wind energy could contribute to 38% of the total emission reduction potential by 2035. Now, let's briefly discuss what NDCs are. These are national climate action plans that each country submits to outline their strategies for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. According to the Paris Agreement, NDCs are required to be updated every 5 years, with increasing ambition reflecting each country's capacity. After the original NDCs in 2015 and the second round in 2020-21, we are looking forward to the next round of NDC targets, dubbed NDCs 3.0, which are due in early 2025. In conclusion, this report underscores the urgency of taking effective measures to address greenhouse gas emissions and highlights the crucial role that national commitments play in combating climate change.
In our next news update, the upcoming UN COP16 Nature Summit is set to debate crucial rules regarding digital sequence information, or DSI, with the goal of streamlining laws and creating a multilateral system focused on generating revenues for conservation. So what exactly is digital sequence information? DSI is a policy term that broadly encompasses genomic sequence data and related digital information. It includes digital representations of genetic resources and biological data such as DNA, RNA, and protein sequences. However, there is still no consensus on the exact interpretation and scope of this term. Now, let's explore the significance of DSI. Firstly, DSI plays a vital role in biological research, aiding in understanding the evolution of life and bioprospecting, the systematic search for useful products from bioresources. For instance, virologists utilized SARS-CoV-2 DSI to design diagnostic kits for COVID-19. Moreover, in agriculture and food security, DSI helps in developing pest-resistant, high-yield and climate-resilient crop varieties. It is also significant for species conservation, as it can assist in identifying and mitigating risks to threatened species and tracking illegal trade. However, the use of DSI is not without challenges. A major issue is the lack of accountability, as public databases sharing DSI, established before the Convention on Biological Diversity (CBD) in 1992, are not accountable to the CBD or its parties. Additionally, there is a lack of equitable benefit sharing. The primary sectors linked to DSI generate an impressive $1.6 trillion annually, excluding potential benefits to the countries of origin and their communities. Other challenges include privacy concerns, data security risks, ownership issues, and technological constraints. In light of these challenges, several initiatives have been taken to promote responsible use of DSI. One such initiative is the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, which includes Target 13, promoting the sharing of benefits from digital sequence information on genetic resources. In India, digital sequencing initiatives such as the Genome India project aim to map the genetic diversity of the Indian population, further advancing our understanding of DSI. In summary, as the UN COP16 Nature Summit approaches, the discussions around digital sequence information will be pivotal in shaping future conservation efforts. The personality in news for today is Rani Chennamma. Recently, a commemorative postage stamp was released to mark the 200th anniversary of Rani Chennamma's glorious victory against British rule on October 23, 1824. Let's take a closer look at the life and legacy of Rani Chennamma. Born in 1778 in present-day Belagavi district in Karnataka, Rani Chennamma was the queen of Kittur. After the death of her husband and only son, she adopted Shivalingappa, aiming to make him the heir to the throne of Kittur. However, the British refused to recognize Shivalingappa under the doctrine of lapse, which ultimately led to the Kittur Revolt. Now, what was the significance of the Kittur Revolt? The Kittur Revolt of 1824 is regarded as the first Indian armed rebellion against the British East India Company and stands as one of the earliest women-led anti-colonial struggles. Although the British lost the first battle in 1824, she was eventually captured and imprisoned until her death in 1829. Rani Chennamma's courageous fight against colonial oppression continues to inspire many today.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. The Supreme Court observed that while an Aadhaar card can be used to establish identity, it is not an authoritative proof of date of birth. Earlier, the Supreme Court stated that Aadhaar card metadata cannot be stored for more than 6 months. An Aadhaar card is a 12-digit unique identification number issued by the Unique Identification Authority of India. The Common Pledge Initiative was launched recently at a UN Security Council debate on women, peace and security. It is designed to bring together mediators, governments and civil society to ensure the full, equal and meaningful engagement of women in peace processes. Bihar's first dry port, also known as Inland Container Depot or ICD, inaugurated in Bihta near Patna. Dry ports provide a logistics facility away from a seaport or airport for cargo handling, storage and transportation. Mormugaon Port Authority has been recognized globally as an incentive provider on the Environmental Ship Index or ESI platform. ESI has been published by the International Association of Ports and Harbours or IAPH since 2011. It identifies ships that perform better in reducing air emissions than required by the current emission standards of the International Maritime Organization or IMO. 31st edition of Singapore-India Maritime Bilateral Exercise or SIMBEX is going on in Eastern Naval Command at Visakhapatnam. SIMBEX, which began as Exercise Lion King in 1994, is one of the most significant bilateral maritime collaborations between the Indian Navy and the Republic of Singapore Navy. Women from flood-prone Borchila in Assam are transforming water hyacinth into eco-friendly products and creating jobs under SBM Urban. Water hyacinth is a non-native aquatic invasive plant that has become widespread in India. A study reports that toxins from bacteria called microcystins can make animals and people sick upon contact with contaminated water in Lake Erie. Lake Erie is the 4th largest of the 5 Great Lakes of North America, alongside Lakes Superior, Michigan, Huron, and Ontario. Kazan Declaration adopted by BRICS rejected CBAM, calling it discriminatory. CBAM is the European Union's policy to impose a carbon tax on imports of certain products from countries with less stringent climate policies. CBAM, implemented in 2023, moves from transitional phase to full enforcement by 2026. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.